today we're reading a new book called Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul. June, Friday. If there's one thing I've learned from my years of being a kid, it's that you have zero control over your own life. Ever since school let out, I haven't had anything I've needed to do or anywhere I've needed to be. As long as the air conditioning was working and the TV remote had batteries in it, I was all set for a relaxing summer holiday. But then, out of the blue, this happened. Pack your bags, we're going on a road trip. This isn't the first time Mom has sprung a trip on us without any warning. Last year, on the first day of summer, she said we were going to upstate for a few days to visit Aunt Loretta at the nursing home. It wasn't exactly my idea of a fun way to kick off the summer. One time when we visited Aunt Loretta, her roommate grabbed me and wouldn't let go until the staffer gave her a chocolate chip muffin. But Mom was just bluffing about going to the nursery home. At breakfast the next morning, she told us where we were really going. We're going to Disney World! Me and my brother Roger were happy because we were both dreading spending the first week of our summer holiday playing shuffleboard at the nursery home. Nursing. But when my little brother Manny heard about the change in plans, he totally lost it. Mom had talked up the Aunt Loretta trip so much that Manny was actually excited about going. We ended up postponing our trip to Disney World so we could visit Aunt Loretta, and you'd think Mom would learn her lesson about surprise trip after that one. I know exactly where this road trip idea came from because the new issue of Family Frolic magazine came in the mail today. If I had to guess, I'd say 90% of everything we do as a family comes from ideas Mom gets from that magazine. And when I saw the latest issue, I knew it was going to get Mom's wheels turning. I flipped through Family Frolic a few times, and I have to admit the pictures make everything look a lot of fun. Your perfect family barbecue. Summer's here, and it's time to break out the grill and fill the cooler with drinks. What better way to celebrate the new sunshine than with a good old-fashioned barbecue? Follow our tips for a day you and your family won't soon forget. This is what the magazine did. But there must be something wrong with our family because we never can measure up to the ones they show in the magazine. This is what they did. See the difference? I guess Mom's not giving up though. She said this road trip is going to be awesome and that spending a lot of time together in the car will be a bonding experience for the whole family. I tried to talk to her into letting us do something normal, like going to a water park for the day, but Mom didn't want to hear it. She said the whole point of this trip is to do things we've never done before and to have authentic experiences. I thought Mom would have looped Dad in about her road trip idea, but apparently I was wrong. because when I got home from work, he seemed just as surprised as us kids. Dad told Mom it was a bad time to be away from work and he didn't want to use his vacation days unless he absolutely had to. But Mom said there is nothing more important than spending time with your family, and that is right. Then Dad told Mom he was really hoping to get his boat out on the water this weekend, and if we went on a road trip, he wouldn't be able to. Mom and Dad get pretty well in general along, but the one thing that's guaranteed to cause a fight between them is Dad's boat. A few years ago, Mom sent Dad out to get some milk, but along the way he spotted a boat for sale in someone's front yard, and before you knew it, the boat was in our driveway. Mom was mad that Dad didn't check with her first because having a boat is a ton of work. But Dad said it was always his dream to own a boat and that we could spend every weekend out on the water as a family. So Dad kept to the boat. So Dad got to keep the boat, and he seemed really happy, but things went downhill fast. A few days later, some people from the homeowners association knocked on our door. They said that there were rules in our neighborhood against having a boat parked in front of your house, and told Dad he had to move it to the back. The boat sat in the backyard for a whole summer because Dad was too busy and didn't have time to use it. Then in autumn, one of Dad's co-workers told him he'd have to winterize the boat to protect it from the cold weather. Dad found out it would cost more to winterize the boat than it cost him to buy it. So he decided he'd take his chances. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, when the temperature dropped below freezing, a big crack appeared in the hull. When it started to snow, Dad rolled the boat under the back deck, and it sat there all winter. In the spring, Mom started using it to store all sorts of junk from the house. The next summer, Dad decided he was going to fix the boat. But when he went to put it out from under the deck, he discovered a family of raccoons living in an old washing machine. Dad called an exterminator to get rid of the raccoons, but when he heard how much that was gonna cost, he decided to take care of it himself. Who watched Paddington 2? Remember the moment when Paddington gets in the taxi and the door closes and it's taxidermist? The boat's been sitting there ever since. I haven't heard any scurrying sounds coming from under the deck for a while, so I'm guessing the raccoons moved out. Today, Mom told Dad he had the whole rest of the summer to get his boat out on the water, and he pretty much gave up after that. Mom said we were gonna leave first thing in the morning, so we needed to start packing for the trip. She told everyone to bring the bare essentials so we could fit everything in the minivan. But by the time we got all our stuff out in the driveway, it was pretty clear we had a space problem. Solar system problem. Mom started going through everything and sorted it into 2 piles: the things we needed, the things we didn't. disappointed when some of his essentials didn't make the cut. Mom made me leave a bunch of small stuff behind, which seemed pretty ridiculous considering that Manny's plastic potty was coming along for the ride. Why not? Whenever we take a trip that's longer than 15 minutes, Mom brings Manny's potty just in case. But I get really uncomfortable whenever Manny uses it. Read this yourself. That is weird. Mom wouldn't let me and Roderick take any electronics on the trip, even though they barely take up any space. She's always saying kids these days don't know how to socialize because they're constantly got their noses 2 inches from the screen. But I'll tell you this, when I have kids, I'm going to let them play with whatever kind of gadget they want. If you ask me, electronics are the key to family happiness. In some books he said he says he's never going to have kids. In some books he says some stuff like this. Even after Mom went through every single item in the driveway and cut out all the things we didn't need, there was still way too much to fit in the van. I suggested we rent one of those gigantic irrational vehicles, I guess. I don't know. Actually, if I'm wrong, don't sue me. Mary sue me. Because we could fit all our stuff in it and have room to spare. The way I see it, if you want the whole family to get along, everyone needs their own space. And with one of those souped up RVs, we could spend weeks on the road without even bumping into one another. But Mom said RVs are too expensive and they get terrible petrol mileage, so that put an end to that idea. Roderick said maybe we could get one of those trailers you tow behind the car, which sounded smart to me. But it was pretty clear Roderick was imagining the trailer as sort of a mini apartment for himself, so that wasn't going to fly either. There's a bird falling in front of my window and I'm so... You heard that? I think Mom realized there wasn't really another option, so she caved in. But getting the boat into the driveway was easier said than done. Not only did we have to take all the junk out of the boat, but it turned out there was a tree growing through the bottom. It took 3 hours to get the boat from under the deck, and let me just say, Mom did not exactly go out of her way to help. After we got the boat into the driveway, Dad patched up the hole in the bottom of the crack in the hull with some duct tape. I just hope we're not going anywhere near the water on this trip, though. Because, as far as I know, the boat didn't come with any life jackets. That's the end of these chapters. If you liked, if you liked even more, subscribe.